Welcome to Rare Coin Richies. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications right now. Today, we are going to take a detailed look at a very interesting piece of modern Australian coinage, the Australia 5 cents 1980 coin in very fine condition, and we will explore its history, its metal composition, its collector demand, and most importantly, its current market value in today's dollar. If you are a coin collector or just starting your journey into numismatics, this information will help you understand the real worth and significance of this small but fascinating coin. The Australian 5 cent coin was first introduced in 1966 when Australia decimalised its currency system, replacing the old pounds, shillings, and pence system. This coin quickly became a regular part of everyday transactions and has remained in circulation for many decades. The 1980 issue is part of the early circulating series and represents a period when Australia's modern coinage system was still developing its identity. Even though it is a small denomination coin, it carries historical importance because it reflects the early years of decimal currency stability in Australia. When we talk about the condition of a coin, especially very fine, we are referring to a coin that has clearly been circulated but still retains strong details. On a 1980 Australia 5 cent coin in very fine condition, you can still see most of the design elements, such as the echidna on the reverse side and Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. There may be light wear on the high points, but overall the design remains clear and attractive. For collectors, condition plays a very important role because it directly affects desirability and value. Now let's look at the background and composition of this coin. The Australia 5 cent coin is made from cupronickel, which is a combination of. This metal blend gives the coin its silver-like appearance and also makes it durable for long-term circulation. Because it is a relatively low denomination coin, large numbers were minted, meaning that the 1980 issue is not considered rare in general circulation. However, its metal composition and consistent design make it an important part of Australia's coinage system. Moving on to collector demand, the 1980 Australia 5 cent coin is generally considered a common coin in the numismatic world. Since millions were produced, most collectors do not actively seek it unless it is in extremely high-grade condition or has a mint error. However, beginner collectors often include it in their collections as part of completing a full-year set of Australian decimal coins. In very fine condition, it still attracts attention from collectors who appreciate well-preserved circulated coins and historical completeness rather than rarity alone. Now the most important question that many viewers are waiting for is the current market value of the Australia 5 cents 1980 coin in very fine condition. In today's market, this coin typically has a value close to but slightly higher due to collector interest. On average, it can range from around 10 cents to $1,75,000 Australian dollars, depending on the exact condition and buyer demand. When converted into $2,450,000 to $50,000, this is roughly around $2,075,000 to $345,000. It is important to understand that while this coin is not rare, its value increases significantly if it is found in uncirculated or mint state condition, or if it has any special minting error. For collectors who are interested in building a strong coin collection, there are a few helpful tips when it comes to coins like the 1980 Australian 5 cent piece. Always pay attention to condition because even small differences in wear can change the value. Try to store coins in a dry and safe environment to prevent damage from moisture or scratches. It is also a good idea to collect full date sets rather than focusing on just one coin, because complete sets are often more valuable and satisfying for long-term collectors. Patience is also very important in numismatics, because coin values can change over time, based on demand and rarity trends. In conclusion, the Australia 5 cents 1980 coin in very fine condition is a great example of a common circulation coin that still holds historical and collectible value. While it may not be highly valuable in monetary terms, it remains an important part of Australian coin history and a useful piece for any collector who wants to understand the evolution of modern currency. Its durability, simple design, and long circulation life make it a respected coin in the numismatic community. Next up, Today's video is all about a small but very interesting piece of Australian coin history, the Australia 5 cents 1977 coin in very fine condition, and what it could be worth in today's market in dollars. Even though it is a low-denomination coin, it still carries strong historical value, collector interest, and a story that connects back to Australia's early decimal currency era. When we talk about the history of the Australia 5 cents coin, we go back to 1966, when Australia officially introduced decimal currency. Before that, Australia was using pounds, shillings, and pence. But with modernization, the country moved to dollars and cents. The 5 cents coin became one of the smallest and most commonly used denominations in everyday life. The 1977 issue belongs to the early decades of decimal circulation, and it represents a time when coins were heavily used in daily transactions, from vending machines to shops and public transport. Because of this heavy circulation, finding one in very fine condition today is always a nice surprise for collectors. Now focusing on the condition, very fine is an important grading term in numismatics. A 1977 Australia 5 cents coin in very fine condition means it has been in circulation, but the main details are still clear and strong. You can still see the design features properly, although there may be light wear on high points, such as the echidna design and the rim. It is not a perfect uncirculated coin, but it is still attractive and collectible, especially for people who enjoy building complete year sets or studying circulated coin history. Condition plays a major role in value, and even small differences in wear can slightly change the price in the collector market. Looking at the background and composition, the Australia 5 cents coin is made from cupronickel, which is a combination of copper and nickel. This alloy gives the coin its silver appearance and also makes it durable for long-term circulation. The coin features the iconic echidna on the reverse side, designed by Stuart Devlin, who also designed many of Australia's early decimal coins. On the obverse side, you will find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, reflecting the monarch during that era. This combination of design and material gives the coin both historical and artistic value, even if When we talk about collector demand, the 1977 Australian 5 cents coin is not considered rare in general circulation grades, but it still holds steady demand among beginner and intermediate collectors. Many collectors enjoy assembling full-date runs of Australian coins, and coins like the 1977 issue are essential for completing those collections. In very fine condition, it becomes more appealing because it shows better detail than heavily worn examples. While it may not be a high-end rare coin, it still plays an important role in numismatic sets and educational collections. There is also consistent interest from international collectors who focus on Commonwealth coinage. Now coming to the most important part, the current market value in dollars. For a standard Australia 5 cents 1977 coin in very fine condition, the value is generally very close to its face value in circulation markets. In most cases, it may range from around 5 cents to $1,000, $45,000 few $175,000. Typically, $1, $75,000 or $2, $75,000, depending on the buyer, selling platform, and overall eye appeal of the coin. If the coin is exceptionally clean for its grade or comes from a well-matched set, it may attract slightly higher interest, but it is still considered an affordable collectible rather than a high-value rarity. Its true value is more historical and educational than monetary. For collectors who are interested in building a strong collection, there are a few helpful tips that can make a big difference over time. It is always a good idea to handle coins carefully, preferably by the edges, to avoid fingerprints and surface damage. Storing coins in protective holders or coin flips helps preserve their condition for many years. Collectors also benefit from learning grading standards, because understanding conditions like fine, very fine, and extremely fine can help you identify better quality coins in circulation. Another useful approach is collecting full-year sets, where coins like the 1977 Australian 5 cents become part of a complete historical timeline of Australian currency. In conclusion, the Australia 5 cents 1977 coin in very fine condition is a wonderful example of everyday currency that carries historical significance beyond its small face value. While it may not be a high-priced rarity in the market, it remains a respected and enjoyable piece for collectors who appreciate Australian decimal coin history. Its durable cupronickel composition, classic echidna design, and connection to the early decimal era all make it a meaningful addition to any collection. For beginners especially, it is a great coin to start learning about grading, value, and the long-term joy of coin collecting. Next up, today we are going to talk about a very interesting and collectible coin that many collectors around the world look for, the Australia 5 cents 1968 coin in very fine condition, and why it still holds attention in today's numismatic market in dollars. When we look at the history of the Australia 5 cents 1968 coin, we are actually looking at one of the early decimal coins introduced after Australia changed its currency system in 1966. This was a very important time in Australian monetary history because the country moved from the old pound system to the new decimal currency system. The 5 cents coin became one of the most widely used coins in everyday transactions. The 1968 issue represents the early years of this new system, which makes it historically significant for collectors. Even in very fine condition, this coin carries a sense of transition and modernization in Australian currency history, which is one of the main reasons collectors continue to appreciate it today. The condition of the coin plays a very important role in its value and appeal. When we say very fine condition, it means the coin has been circulated, but still retains a good amount of detail in its design. The main features, such as the portrait details, the edges, and the overall structure, are still clearly visible, although there may be signs of wear from usage over time. For collectors, very fine condition is considered a solid mid-grade condition where the coin is still attractive and historically valuable, even if it is not in mint state. This makes it accessible for both new collectors and experienced numismatists who enjoy building realistic and historically meaningful collections. Now, when we talk about the background and composition of this coin, the Australia 5 cents 1968 coin was made using cupronickel, a combination of copper and nickel. This metal blend gives the coin its silver-like appearance and makes it durable for everyday circulation. The design features the iconic echidna on the reverse side, which is one of Australia's native animals and an important symbol of its unique wildlife heritage. On the obverse side, the coin features Queen Elizabeth II in her younger portrait style used during that period. This combination of national symbolism and royal portrait makes the coin both culturally and historically meaningful. Collector demand for the 1968 Australian 5 cents coin remains steady even today. While it is not considered extremely rare, it is still part of the early decimal series, which means collectors who focus on Australian coinage often want it to complete their sets. Demand is also influenced by condition, and coins in very fine condition are especially attractive because they offer a balance between affordability and historical character. Many collectors appreciate these coins because they represent a real piece of circulating history, rather than a preserved or untouched example. This emotional connection often adds to their popularity in the collector community. When it comes to current market value in dollars, the Australia 5 cents 1968 coin in very fine condition typically has a modest but stable value. In general market conditions, it can range approximately from $245,000 to $375,000 depending on eye appeal, exact wear level, and buyer interest. Some collectors may pay slightly more if the coin has stronger detail or comes from a well-maintained collection. While it is not a high-value rare coin, its historical importance and collectible nature ensure that it always has a place in the numismatic market. For collectors who are interested in building a strong coin collection, there are a few helpful tips to keep in mind. It is always important to handle coins carefully to preserve their condition, ideally by holding them by the edges to avoid fingerprints. Storing coins in protective holders can also help maintain their appearance over time. Another useful approach is to learn about different years and variations within the same coin series, because even small differences can sometimes affect value and rarity. Patience is also key in coin collecting. as building a meaningful collection often takes time and consistent learning. In conclusion, the Australia 5 cents 1968 coin in very fine condition is a wonderful example of early decimal currency that continues to attract interest from collectors around the world. Its historical background, durable composition, and recognizable design all contribute to its lasting appeal. Even though its market value in dollars is relatively modest, its true worth lies in its place in Australian monetary history and the story it represents. For collectors, it is not just about price, but about preserving a piece of the past that continues to connect generations through coin collecting. Next up, today we are talking about a small but very interesting coin from Australia that many collectors often overlook, yet it still carries steady demand in the numismatic world. This is the Australia 5 cents coin from the year 2000 in very fine condition, and in this video we will explore its history, its background, its metal composition, collector interest, and its current market value in dollars, along with helpful insights for collectors who are just starting or already building their collection. The Australia 5 cents coin has a long and respected history within the Australian currency system. It was first introduced in 1966 when Australia transitioned to decimal currency. Since then, the 5 cents coin has remained an important part of everyday transactions, even though over time its purchasing power has become very small. The year 2000 issue belongs to a modern era of Australian coinage, produced during a time when the Royal Australian Mint was focusing on high-quality mass circulation coins while maintaining consistent design standards. The obverse of the coin features Queen Elizabeth II, reflecting Australia's constitutional monarchy, while the reverse displays the echidna, a unique native Australian animal that represents the country's natural heritage and identity. When we talk about the condition described as very fine, it means the coin has seen circulation, but still retains a good amount of its original detail. Light wear may be visible on the high points of the design, but overall the features are still clear and attractive. For collectors, condition plays a very important role, because even common coins can become more desirable when they are well preserved. A 2000 Australian 5 cents coin in very fine condition is not considered rare in terms of mintage, but its appeal increases when it is clean, undamaged, and maintains strong design visibility. The background and composition of this coin are also quite interesting. The Australia 5 cents coin is made from cupronickel, which is a durable alloy of copper and nickel. This composition was chosen because it resists corrosion and wear, making it ideal for coins that circulate heavily in everyday use. The coin has a standard round shape, a milled edge, and a small size that makes it easy to handle and identify. Even though it is one of the smallest denomination coins in Australia, its metallic composition gives it a long-lasting structure, allowing many coins from decades ago to still exist today in collectible condition. Collector demand for the 2000 Australia 5 cents coin is generally steady rather than highly competitive. It is not considered a rare date, but it still attracts attention from beginner collectors, world coin enthusiasts, and those who specialize in Australian decimal currency sets. Many collectors aim to complete full-year runs, and coins like the year 2000 issue are essential for building complete collections. Additionally, collectors who focus on coins in better-than-average condition often seek out very fine examples to upgrade their sets, which keeps consistent demand in the market. When it comes to the current market value in dollars, the 2000 Australia 5 cents coin in very fine condition usually remains close to its in most cases. In general collector markets, it may sell for around a few cents to a small premium depending on demand, presentation, and whether it is part of a set or sold individually. In $175,000 terms, it typically ranges from roughly $2,050 to $2,075 in circulated very fine condition. However, if it is included in a well-presented collector's lot or an uncirculated roll, the value can be slightly higher. It is important to understand that while this coin is not rare, its value is more historical and educational, rather than high monetary investment. For collectors, there are some useful tips that can make a big difference in building a strong coin collection. It is always a good idea to handle coins carefully and avoid touching the surface with bare fingers to prevent oils from damaging the metal over time. Storing coins in protective holders or albums helps preserve their condition and maintain their visual appeal. Collectors should also focus on quality over quantity, because a well-preserved example often holds more long-term value and satisfaction than multiple heavily worn pieces. Learning about mintages, years, and design variations can also help collectors identify coins that may become more valuable in the future. In conclusion, the Australia 5-cent coin from the year 2000 in very fine condition is a simple yet meaningful piece of modern Australian coinage. While it may not carry high monetary value, it represents an important part of everyday currency history and continues to hold interest among collectors around the world. Its strong design, durable composition, and steady availability make it an excellent addition for anyone building a complete Australian coin collection. For new collectors especially, coins like this offer a great starting point to understand the beauty and history behind numismatics while enjoying the journey of collecting step by step in a positive and rewarding way. Next up, today we are going to talk about a small but very interesting coin from Australia that many beginners often overlook, yet collectors around the world still keep an eye on it. This is the Australia 5-cent 2008 coin in very fine condition, and we will explore its history, metal composition, how it entered circulation, what collectors think about it today, its current market value in dollars, and some helpful tips for anyone who wants to start collecting coins like this. The Australian 5-cent coin has a long and stable history in the country's decimal currency system. It was first introduced in 1966, when Australia changed from the old pounds, shillings, and pence system to a modern decimal system. The 5-cent coin quickly became an important part of everyday transactions, even though it is one of the smallest denominations. By 2008, the coin had already been in circulation for decades, and the design had become familiar to millions of Australians. The 2008 issue continues the traditional design featuring the echidna, one of Australia's unique native animals, which gives the coin a strong identity and cultural value. Even though it is a small denomination, it carries a sense of national pride and historical continuity. When we talk about the condition of a coin, very fine condition means that the coin has clearly been used in circulation but still retains a good amount of detail. On the Australia 5-cent 2008 coin in very fine condition, you may notice that the fine lines of the echidna's spines are still visible, though slightly softened from wear. The lettering around the edges is readable, and the general shape remains strong without major damage. This condition is important for collectors because it sits between heavily worn coins and nearly uncirculated examples. It represents a coin that has lived a real life in circulation but still has collectible value. The composition of the Australia 5-cent coin is another interesting aspect that attracts collectors. Since its introduction, the coin has been made primarily from cupronickel, which is a mixture of copper and nickel. This metal combination gives the coin its silver-like appearance, while keeping production costs manageable for the Royal Australian Mint. The durability of cupronickel also allows these coins to survive in circulation for many years, which is why even a 2008 coin can still be commonly found today. The standard weight and size of the coin have remained consistent, making it easy to identify and handle in collections. When it comes to collector demand, the 2008 Australia 5-cent coin sits in a unique position. It is not considered extremely rare, but it still holds steady interest among beginner collectors and those who focus on complete date sets of Australian coins. Many collectors try to gather one coin from each year, and the 2008 issue is an essential part of that journey. In very fine condition, it becomes slightly more desirable than heavily worn examples because it offers better visual detail and presentation. While advanced collectors may prioritize rare mint errors or low mintage years, general collectors still appreciate this coin for its role in completing a full collection. Now let's talk about the current market value in dollars. The Australia 5-cent 2008 coin in very fine condition is generally considered a low-value circulation coin. In most cases, its market value remains close to its. But in collector markets, it can sometimes sell slightly higher depending on demand and the quality of the specific coin. Typically, such a coin may trade in the range of a few cents to $30,000 to $2,000, $50,000 when sold individually, especially if it is part of a collector set or sold through online platforms where shipping and presentation add extra value. It is important to understand that while this coin is not a high-value investment piece, it still carries educational and historical importance that makes it valuable in a different sense. For collectors, especially beginners, this coin offers a great learning opportunity. One important tip is to always handle coins carefully by their edges to avoid fingerprints and scratches, because even small marks can reduce their appeal over time. It is also helpful to store coins in protective holders or albums to maintain their condition. Another useful approach is to collect full date runs rather than focusing only on individual coins, as this helps build a more complete and satisfying collection. Patience is also key in coin collecting, because many coins that seem common today can become more interesting in the future depending on demand and historical interest. Finally, when we look at the Australia 5 cents 2008 coin in very fine condition as a whole, it may not be a rare treasure in terms of high monetary value, but it is still a meaningful part of Australia's circulating coin history. It reflects everyday life, national identity, and the long-standing tradition of modern coinage. For collectors, it is a reminder that value is not always about high prices, but also about history, design, and personal interest in building something meaningful over time.